Rob Van Dam is such an amazing athletic competitor. There's not a doubt in my mind that he's one of the biggest stars in the business.
You've got to be kidding me, JR. I think you're more out of it than RVD is. Van Dam might have a few fans, but that doesn't mean he's as big a star as he seems to think he is.
Something wrong with your eyes, King? You need glasses? Look at all the RVD fans in this arena. There aren't many other superstars who get this kind of reception.
Well, just because a bunch of people believe something, that doesn't make it right. It wouldn't be the first time the fans have backed the wrong horse, JR. These superstars are putting on a great match so far, JR. But if they drop the ball, these fans will let them hear about it.
I don't think that's going to happen, King. These competitors know that their paychecks come straight from the WWE fans. They're not going to let them down.
Yeah, but if they don't keep the fans happy...
If wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. But that's not the case now, is it?
I'm so happy that we have a superstar like Edge on the Raw roster. Someone who sets goals for himself and doesn't let anything stop him from reaching them. He's a great role model for young fans.
Oh, he's a terrific role model, all right. Edge is a real humanitarian. A guy who would just as soon sell you out as look at you.
What are you talking about, JR? That's just a nasty rumor spread by people who wanted to be in Edge's league but couldn't keep up with him.
Come on, King. You watch Edge as much as I have.
Here's the pin! Could this be it?
I tell you, King, sometimes I get exhausted just watching these superstars compete.
I know what you mean, JR. I don't think most people appreciate what incredible athletes these WWE superstars really are.
You've got to have some excellent conditioning to be able to do what they do.
Well, that's the name of the game, JR. You got to keep moving. No dog ever peed on a moving car.
Oh, that's a lovely image, King. I'd ask you where you come up with this stuff, but...
Uh-oh! Talk about a hole you don't want to find yourself in.
No kidding! This will rearrange your anatomy.
How can Shawn Michaels keep calling himself the Heartbreak Kid? Does he really think he's still breaking hearts at his age?
King, I'm sorely tempted to say something about the pot and the kettle. But instead, I'll say that I think Shawn Michaels is like a fine wine. He's only improved with age.
Look at this, JR. Can you imagine SmackDown putting on a match half as good as this?
No disrespect intended for our SmackDown colleagues, but no, I can't, King. I truly believe Raw is the dominant brand of sports entertainment.
You hit the nail right on the head there, JR. The dominant brand. Not the slightly better brand or the sort of superior brand.
Absolutely not. I'm a Raw man, and I have to believe we're head and shoulders better than the competition.
You won't get any argument from me, JR. SmackDown's the minor leagues as far as I'm concerned.
Sounds like this crowd's got something on their minds, King.
Who cares about them, JR? Look what's going on in the ring.
Boy, when you look at these superstars, it really drives home the fact that Raw is the dominant brand of sports entertainment.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, JR. There's not a superstar on the SmackDown roster who could hold a candle to Raw's finest.
I wouldn't... He's got his opponent locked in a submission hold.
We can see a tap out right here, JR. I don't care how tough you are, JR. No one can take this kind of pain for long.
You're absolutely right, King. We've seen many superstars tap out to this very hold.
There's the reversal.
You're not going to get him with that one.
I gotta say, JR, I'm really impressed by what we've seen here tonight. Flat on your back with your shoulders on the mat is no place to be. Watch out! He reversed it!
I think this crowd has decided to exercise the right of free speech.
God bless the First Amendment, JR.
This is a classic matchup, King. I'm so glad the WWE fans are getting the chance to see it.
Yeah, and I'm happy that I'm getting to see it too, JR. I just wish they'd pick up the pace a little.
Oh no, this is classic old school wrestling at its finest. You, of all people, should be able to appreciate that, King.
Wait a minute, JR. You're not trying to say that I'm old, are you?
Of course not, King. Although there was that rumor going around about your social security number was 1.
Someone as out of it as Rob Van Dam could be featured as prominently as he is here in the WWE. I don't even think he knows where he is right now.
Van Dam might seem laid back, but don't ever mistake that for a lack of awareness or intensity. More often than not, in the heat of competition, cooler head.
There's the pin! Oh boy, these fans have got something on their minds, JR.
Well, they paid for their tickets, King, and they've got a right to say whatever they want.
You know, JR, when I think someone's going for a high-risk move, JR. Boy, it's obvious these superstars have done their homework on each other.
They sure have, and this is one hell of an exam.
Let's hope it's not their final exam, JR. I'd love to see them go at it again.
Well, if I think the fans have their way, you'll get your wish, King. I don't think he's climbing up there for the view. And now a pin. This could be it. It doesn't appear that Edge is getting much love from this crowd tonight, and who can blame them? They're certainly not getting much from Edge.
That's not true, JR. I'm sure this arena is just full of Edge heads tonight. You might not hear them cheering, but that's probably because they're in awe of the fact that they're watching their favorite superstar.
Or maybe it's because the Edge heads turned on Edge right about the same time he turned on them, King. I think they do a pretty good job of making themselves heard, but with those boos instead of cheers now. This capacity crowd is making their opinions known tonight.
They sure are, JR, and I love to hear it.
These superstars are going to put each other through wrestling hell tonight.
They've already got a pretty good start on that, JR.
They have indeed, King. I don't think there's an ounce of quit between them.
Yeah, and that's where things get dangerous. If you're too proud to admit that it's not your night, you might wind up risking your career for a single match.
But at the same time, King, no one makes it up the ladder without pushing themselves to the very limit. It's a very fine line to walk.
See, JR, this is exactly why Raw is the #1 brand in all of sports entertainment.
You're absolutely right, King. We've got the best superstars, the best band,
and the best announced team. Don't forget that.
I was going to say that until you interrupted me. Now I'm just hoping I haven't lost Taz's phone number.
You can look at any professional sport you want, JR, and you won't find more incredible athletes than the WWE superstars.
You're not wrong, King. They compete every week until they are physically incapable of continuing. There's no off-season in the WWE.
We're not talking about running a ball down a field or slapping a puck into a net. This is serious physical. Oh, man, I've been in this hole before, JR. This brings back some bad memories.
I can understand why, King. I can't even imagine the pain being inflicted here.
Listen to the crowd, JR. I think they've got something to say to these superstars.
And if they're smart, they'll listen. Remember, without these fans, these superstars are out of a job. Oh, for the love of... Open your eyes, Red. I can't believe he got it. And there's the cover.
I don't think these superstars have any intention of taking it easy on each other tonight.
That's not what they signed up for, King. And quite frankly, I think these fans would be disappointed if they didn't go all out. Look at this. Look at this. You talk about a house of fire. You're seeing it right here.
Yeah? Well, somebody better put out that fire, or this one's not going to end well.
I don't believe it. We might see a superstar get beat for their own finishing move here.
He's going for the cover, JR. JR's not going to be happy about this one, folks. I think one of his favorites is going to get beat like the proverbial government mule.
I'm not playing favorites, King. I might have issues with certain superstars as human beings, but I respect their in-ring abilities nonetheless.
JR, you're so full of it that you've got diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain. Wow! Listen to these fans, JR!
You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all the people some of the time, but there's no fooling the WWE fans at all. And there it goes! The submission is locked in!
Oh my gosh! He might make his opponent tap right here! I think we're going to find out just how much punishment the human body can withstand here tonight.
I think you're right, King. These superstars, he's taken every advantage in this matchup, and it looks like he plans on taking a few more.
If he's not the dirtiest player in the game, JR, he's a shoo-in for second place. These superstars sure aren't going easy on each other here tonight.
What'd you expect, King? This isn't ballet, you know.
Oh, really, JR? Gosh, tell me more about your in-ring experience.
Well, I've got a pinfall.
We could have a pinfall here, JR. That was so close to 3, he could taste it. It looks like they've slowed the match down a little. I think that's some good strategy right there.
It certainly is. I'm sure they're well acquainted with the old expression, rules. He went straight for the pin. No eyes on him. If one of these superstars starts to build momentum, it could be the beginning of the end of this match.
That's right, JR. You don't see a lot of matches won with one.
And there's the submission. There might not be any way out of it.
There better be, or we're going to see a tap out right here.
Well, you can't ever accuse the WWE fans of being shy about saying what's on their minds.
You sure can, JR, and I don't think we'd have it any other way. You got to respect the commitment and the dedication of these superstars to their careers.
No question about it, King. Every superstar on the roster has had to make more sacrifices than any other professional athlete I know.
It really is like being married to your career. There's not much room for anything else.
And marriage is a subject which you happen to be something of an authority. Isn't that right, King?
Come on now, JR. A man doesn't know what true happiness is until he's married. And then it's too late. He's going for the pin!
You think you know me? Here's your winner and the new WWE